Hi there, and welcome to the Creatives Get Real podcast. I am Roben-Marie Smith.
And I'm Sandi Keene, and these are real conversations about the creative life. Hey, Robin.
Hey, Sandi.
Well, we are still in the mountains.
Yes, we are.
And it's still awesome.
Mm-hmm. Birds are still singing.
And we're loving it. Now, we have been so friendly with each other and had a great time together, but we are going to duke it out over this topic.
Mm-hmm.
We have opposite views of each other.
Yes, we do. To a degree on this topic.
True. There is a middle ground where we agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if you just ask us yes or no, we would take opposite sides.
That's correct.
So
what is it?
I know. Let's put on our gloves and let's go to blog or not to blog. Yeah. Which side are you?
Blog.
Don't bother.
And there is a happy medium here.
Yes.
Yeah. Because there's factors you need, to be considered here. So we're going to talk about those, guys.
Yeah. Let's go, because this one's going to be fun.
It's a good topic. Mm-hmm.
So my first question for you, and we now know how you're going to answer it, but let's hear what you have to say about it. Is blogging dead?
Yeah. And there are both camps here of thought about it. I say no. Now, however, in the traditional sense of blogging, I do not blog today like I blogged in 2004 when I started. Very different. Blogging has changed a lot, I think, in the last 5 years. It's a lot different.
Agreed.
I think that oftentimes when we think of blogging, we think of the idea of the sharing, the personal story, it's just a different, it really kind of started with LiveJournal, if I remember back in the day, where it was a lot of that, the writing and the sharing and the story of your life, almost like you were,
it was like diary.
It was diary, exactly, diary entries. And of course it has changed so much. There are people who make a living just from their blogs.
Absolutely.
They do. I don't think it's dead. I think it just depends on your needs and what you want to do with that blog. So that's how I feel about it.
Okay. And I say that blogging is dead. Well, if it's not dead, I'm going to say that it's on life support.
Okay.
We will agree that there's a form of blogging that I think is still valuable. And, some people might even call it something other than blogging.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think there are better ways to spend your time and energy than blog entries.
And I think that what I think has changed a lot is the fact that, many years ago, I don't even know how many we could even go back to, we actually checked in on a regular basis, daily, with blogs that we enjoyed following.
Absolutely.
And we read them, and it was just different. Now, we just don't have time. That's why I think blogging in the sense of very, very specific blogging, a purpose that's a little bit different than what we have seen in the past is what I'm kind of thinking. But you're right. We don't have time for one thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it is different. And I do think that people are approaching blogging differently. Rather than it being personal and journal entries, it's much more
educational.
It's also marketing.
Yep.
And you're right. There are people like I follow Young House Love. Do you follow them?
You have recommended them to me, but I don't with intention go to their website.
Okay.
No.
So they're a couple who have a family and they are, bloggers, and that's what they do for a living, along with some other things.
Yeah.
But they stopped blogging and now they've started blogging again. But their blog is very much the details of projects with lots of pictures and lots of links. Yep. So it's a marketing tool. It's tons of information. I can't tell you how many items that I've bought for my house simply because they've already done all the research and they suggested it and here's why. And I'm like, yes, let me use that affiliate link because you did all the research and all the work. Right. And in fact, I'm looking at a light fixture right now that is in their house and is in my house.
Yeah.
Because it was easy. Click the link, ding.
Right. But that blog is not the traditional journal type
Correct.
diary blog. They are utilizing that blog as a means of it for income. It's for their business. It's the way for them to take that information, to share that information in a way that shows that they're an expert in what they're saying.
Right.
And therefore they're able to, put that out there.
Right.
And as I mentioned earlier, when you're thinking of it, it's all, what is the purpose? What is your objective with that blog? And I think that's where you have to kind of look at it, and I know we're speaking to predominantly creatives. So we're looking at it from that standpoint. But I do agree with you in the sense that I don't think that the blogging is essentially dead in the terms of the journaling and the diary type of blog posts. We just I don't even go and read ones when I go to blog posts, it's for information, education, and to figure out how to do something. Right. That's pretty much how
and links.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm looking for links.
Right.
So you still blog.
I do.
In a different format, but what to you, for you, is blog worthy?
Yeah. Okay. And I just touched on that a second ago. For me, I believe that what is blog worthy, there's a couple things, two things. Because I want people who come to my website and come to my blog, number one, I want them to know who I am and know what it is I do and how I can help them. I use my blog as a way to show them that I'm an expert in the topics that I help teach to other people. Right. And by doing blog posts where I'm giving them, here's how you do this, here's how you do that, whatever that is, whether it's art or whether it's the tech side of things, they can see from those posts that she knows what she's talking about. She knows what she's doing. And I'm getting something of value from her. So if I'm getting this value, what is the value that I get if I actually gave her money and bought something from her, a service or her class? The other thing is, on occasion, is sharing the who I am, the things that are important to me. Right. Now, not like back in the day where it was like, okay, here's my vacation and we did all of these things and here's all the photos. I think that's way better for me. I just put that on Instagram or put that on Facebook. Right. But I still like to use my blog to show the personal side of me in my life. And usually that has to do with the recap of a trip to Honduras or something that is is a substantial thing in my life that that makes a lot, that means a lot to me. But those aren't as frequent as they used to be back when I first started blogging. So that's kind of how I look at it. It's a means for me to show that I'm an expert in what I teach and what I do. I want to give value to those that come and are looking for help. And I feel like the blog is the best way to do that for me. But I am a lot more selective on what I blog. And I don't blog as often as I used to. It's not necessary.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're using it a lot for tutorials.
Absolutely.
And then personal interest stories. Here's a question I have for you. Do people still do blog hops?
When I had my two online stores open, we did do blog hops, and I just closed the stores last year. So up until that point, I did one blog hop every year when it was tied to a new product launch. And I don't think they're as frequent as they used to be. Right. But it depends on, again, what are you giving of value with that blog hop? Is there a tutorial there? Are there giveaways? I don't think that they're as popular and utilized as much as they used to be. I definitely don't think so. But I did one a year when we had the team and we did that for a product launch, which was a great way to get the word out because other people are also blogging. But what they were doing was using those products in a tutorial that then gave value and showed how to use those products, a tutorial. So yeah, so basically the same concept, just done with a blog hop. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I have, since you designed my website and you believe in blogs, I have a blog.
There's 3 blog posts on it, people.
Only 3. That's probably not going to change anytime soon. And mine are just articles on coaching and what I do and what it means and how you do it.
But it's important because...
That I agree with you. Yeah. I guess I don't see that as a blog, though. I would call those articles.
They're articles.
Right. So that's, I guess my definition of blogging is still kind of antiquated because I'm thinking about old school blogging.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking about tutorials. Like one of the things that you like to do on your blog is tutorial. Where else are those tutorials for you? Because I know they're not just on your...
No, you're right. They're not just on
your blog.
My blog. But here's my reasoning. Yeah, you can put it on YouTube, but then that's it. They're just seeing it on YouTube. Yes, you can put some links and you can put some things underneath it. But within a blog post, there could be affiliate links in there. There's a way for my audience that comes to sign up to be on my list so that they're privy to sales or launches, anything that is important and a perk, they get first notice on that. When I opened my store recently, my mailing list got first dibs on everything, and a lot was gone before I put it on social media.
Right.
But they get that benefit. So it's really hard. You can get people to sign up on YouTube. You can do it, but it's a lot easier if you can get them to your website. Plus, if you can get them there, they can see all that you have to offer them, and they can see, oh my gosh, she's got classes. Oh, she's got this. I don't even know who she is. I just found her.
Right.
So they work together, but yes, I don't just have them on my blog, but I want to drive traffic over to my website as much as I possibly can.
Right. So let's talk about the difference between a blog and a website, because you have some strong feelings about that as well.
I do. I think that having a website is necessary. Having a blog is not as necessary.
Okay.
So I think if I was going to look at both.
Common ground.
Yes, we do. This is where we kind of have some common ground. I really think that a website is of value to you because it gives you a home base. It gives you your place where you can showcase who you are, what you do, and it all depends on your objective. What is your objective? What are you trying to accomplish?
Right.
And I think having that is important. Now, let's say you find somebody on Instagram and you're like, wow, I really like her work. What's the first thing you do? You go to their bio and you see if they have a website.
Right.
And then you go to their website and you see what they have, what they're doing, and you're like, oh my gosh, I love their work. You look, do they have a store? Do they sell this stuff that they do? Do they have classes?
Do they teach it? Right.
That's right. It's a progression that you go through. And you could lead them somewhere, but if you can lead them to a website, and it doesn't have to be super fancy, it doesn't have to be complicated, but as long as it has the necessary things, so when someone gets there, they can go, oh my goodness, I really like this person. I want to know more.
Right.
But you got to have somewhere for them to go.
Right.
That's my feeling about it.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
And I think that makes the important distinction between website and blog.
Yep.
I do agree that absolutely, if you're an artist who wants to do business type things, that's one of the things that you need. And that's something that I had to do, was revamp mine because it was so stinking old. There were literally cobwebs in that thing. It was so
neglected.
It was so neglected. It was old. It had not been dusted in years. So thank you for helping me with that. But I do agree that a website is really important. I used to not value it as much because I thought that there were such powerful platforms like Instagram, like Facebook. But then when you come to realize that, yes, they're very powerful, but you have no control over them. There's algorithms.
That's right. Absolutely.
They can disappear. They can be locked up. They can all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Then you start to realize, well, it's silly to put all of your eggs in a basket that you don't own.
That's right.
It's not your basket.
That's right. And with your website, it's your home base and you control it.
Exactly.
You are able to drive people there. And you are able to then get people on a list who then you can reach out to at any time. Right. You have that freedom to do that. But you're right. I mean, and we're not saying, absolutely, I'm not saying that's all you need. I mean, in this day and age, you got to be on social. You don't have to be on everything. You got to pick where your people are and where you want to be, what you enjoy. Right. And then you are able to then move people over to and find out. I mean, I'm sorry. I really do believe that that's what they're going to do. They're going to look at your bio and go, I want to know if they have a website. It's the first thing I do. Yeah. I go, I want to see what else they're doing. They're inspiring me. I love what they're doing. Yeah. And if they don't have one, I kind of go, oh, bummer. Yeah. And I wonder, But I mean, it'd be like you as a coach, right? Not having a website.
I'm not going to like where this is going.
We're looking for a coach to help me in my business and my art, I am going to go to their website and I'm going to look and I'm going to say, who are they?
Right.
Are they legit?
Are they qualified?
Are they qualified?
Do they have testimonials?
Exactly. Do they have any other clients? And you do your research. I'm less likely to give my money to somebody that doesn't have any of that, who maybe just talks about it on Instagram and you're like, I don't really know. Mm-hmm. But if I can see you've got 3 great articles on your quote unquote blog that show that, okay, well, she knows what she's talking about. And you've got testimonials. You have clients. And I'm able to see that.
Right.
But here we go. We use this podcast in much the same way as we would say Instagram or Facebook. People hear about what we're talking about and they're like, well, I'd like to learn a little bit more. What are they going to do? They're probably going to go find our website. They're going to look to see what else, well, if they have classes, well, what do they do? What are their classes about?
Right.
So it's not in that traditional sense of blogging. But I have to tell you, I liked your blog. I thought when you blogged, my favorite one that sticks out was the one.
I know which one it is.
It is.
When I bought a car.
Yes, it was that one. I was in stitches. I was on the floor laughing. It was so funny. I was like, she is such a great writer. And I'm envious of that because I'm not that great of a writer. And you had me laughing so hard. I loved that article. But that was a totally different thing. It wasn't like what we're talking about now. It was very personal, but it was hilarious. And that was years ago, when I knew, you were really doing more
cards ago.
Yeah, a couple cards ago. But
it was a funny story, though.
Yeah, it was. And so I wanted to say something because you had said, articles. A lot of times nowadays, I will use that word articles rather than blog post. I know that some people don't understand, sort of like, because I see a lot of most of mine as articles. They're informative articles that are teaching and educating. Not in that traditional sense of blogging. So it's kind of, that word I think is a lot more interchanged now than it used to be.
Right.
Where I like to say, I've got a new article up, but do people understand what that means? So it's sort of like that, a blog post, I know what that means. But an article, it's sort of like, what does that mean exactly?
Yeah, I can see the value of, being on social media and you see someone's talking about something and then they say, there's only so much information you can give on Facebook, Instagram. And then they say, for more details, go to my blog post.
Exactly.
Okay. I get value from. So that I do understand because they're, whether it's a tutorial or it's a step-by-step or whatever it is, just a lot more detail, all those links and just all that really good detailed information. I get that.
And working and creating a blog post or an article, there are ways that if you've got that in place, you can leverage that in so many ways. I think if you get that, it can be leveraged. You can pull quotes out of it. You can pull whatever you need to out of it for tweets. Graphics, I often will have graphics in there. Those are then able to be shared and giving pulling out things from the post that can then be shared on Instagram or whatever, and then still lead people back to the full article. But there's things that you can do. The video's now on YouTube, if it's on YouTube. So now people will be finding it on YouTube and then they're going to go, oh boy, I wonder what else she's got. I think there's a way to really maximize it to where you get the most out of it. I used to think this way, but I didn't realize that there was a different way to do things, is, post it one and done. And it's like, no, because people aren't going to see that. They're not always going to see that. Just because you posted it once in Facebook does not mean everybody has seen it.
Right.
So it's okay to re-promote that blog post or that article again in 3 months. If it's relevant still, then you need to, because people didn't see it the first time around.
Right.
And this way, especially if it's of value, if you've got great information that will help people, then share it with them and let them know about it.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Granted, sharing the story about your car purchase might not be as relevant a year later, but that tutorial about creating the deli paper flowers anytime, anywhere from now is of value to somebody because they have never seen it. And everyone starts in a different place and they're creating in different levels. And, so maybe that article I wrote about, creating your website in Squarespace isn't of value to somebody who's already got one, but there's a lot of people that are looking for options and they can get value from it.
Yeah.
And that continually allows you to get that post out there, but I think having it all married together works and works a little bit better. So,
well, I think maybe you've convinced me that to change my stance just slightly.
Yeah.
Because I do see the value of articles. So if we can call blogging writing articles, I'm in.
Yeah, absolutely. And really that's what you've done, even with the 3 that you've created.
Right.
And I think that it's like you were saying about not putting your eggs in one basket. I think it's important to have that variety out there so that, you can pull people in, they can see your home base, and you own that. It's yours. And you don't have to worry about anything happening outside of that. But now it's my turn to forget what I was going to say. It was right there, and I don't know what happened. It's gone now.
That's okay. I totally understand.
Raspberries.
If you heard last podcast episode where my mind went totally blank.
Raspberries.
And I don't know what I was saying.
I don't know. Well, you said, I think we can find common ground here that we both, we've kind of like, all right, I can
call
see
it articles and I'm in. Yeah.
And approach it from, I know what I was going to say. It's the idea that I think back in the day, we read things and we were pressured to believe that we had to blog every day.
Right.
That it was a thing that you really had to do every single day.
Right.
And it had to be, 800, that's not even right, 3,000 words, whatever that was. There was always like these guidelines you had to follow. And I even bought into that going, oh my gosh, I haven't blogged in a week. And, what do I do?
It's so much pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. And then you start feeling like I can't keep up with it. I can't do it. And I don't let that pressure me anymore. When I have something I think is of value, that's when I want to post, because I'd rather give quality over quantity.
Right.
And, rather have a really good one article that teaches something or gives a value than to have 5 or 6 that I'm just like, well, that's just filler. What does that matter?
Right.
So, so we'll call the blog post articles.
Okay. Then I'm okay with
articles.
And I think that just to throw out one more little topic is I think that you can blog via video.
Oh, yeah.
Just as well as writing.
Yeah. I mean, short blog. Video blogging could absolutely do that. You can get creative. You can even do it by audio. I mean, there's been some times where I just do an audio and you can pop that in a post and that can be still shared over social. So everyone absorbs and takes in information differently. So when you can maximize that in different ways, like even a blog post, you can pull from an audio. So if you did the audio or the video, you can then pull that out and make it as a written article.
True.
So which can then be put into a format that you can email and say, hey, to your list. For the rest of it, come on over and check it out. I mean, that's your value right there is your list.
Right.
Is speaking to the people who've already said, I want to hear from you.
So if you're working with a client who wants to start, they have a website, they're building a website. So you always recommend that they have a blog.
It depends on their goals. It depends on what. I work primarily with artists who want to make a living at what they're doing. And I do encourage them at least have the blog, if anything, to start with, so they can showcase their work, so they can show tutorials that they're doing, and that way it's out there. Now, if they start finding direction and I'm very specific and this is what I want to do, then they can maybe approach it as I'm going to write articles or I'm going to do I think it's more for tutorials and just showing. Okay. But I don't encourage them or pressure them to say you really need to be doing this every week or anything like that. In fact, I just say you really need the website before you ever need to think about the blog. Right. Because I've had some have said, well, do I really have to have a blog? And it's like, no, you don't.
You mean somebody besides me?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And I'm like, no, you can get your website up and ready and it's a lot of pressure anyway, just to get that up and going and having everything in place. But I think that, my advice is if you're not ready to do that or you don't have anything right now that you're ready to blog about, don't worry about it. Because you can still move people to your website to see your gallery of your art. Right. You can still come and see who you are. Your homepage alone can give them a lot of information about you and guide them to where you want them to go and what you want them to see. Down the road, the blogging may be something they want to do.
So it sounds like maybe we can take off the gloves.
I think so.
I think maybe we've come to consensus here.
I think we kind of knew that a little bit, but I think it was just the wording. It's been, like I said, things have changed so much in the industry and they will continue to change. True. It's so hard to keep up with all this stuff, but I really just don't. I don't think that somebody should write articles or blog in a sense if their heart's not in it, because it'll be obvious to people that you just kind of threw that up there and it's not really, I mean, think about who your audience is and how you want to help and serve them. And it'll make it a lot easier, to decide what you want to talk about and what your blog needs to be about. So,
okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
Till the next time.
Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of Creatives Get Real.
We love hearing from you. So hop on over to Instagram and leave us a comment. And we also appreciate reviews on iTunes.
And you can find me, Sandi Keene, at sandykeene.com and my classes at popupartclasses.com.
And you can find me, Roben-Marie Smith, at robenmarie.com. And if you're looking for and need tech support, check out my membership site, makerstechu.com.